News Information Station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
Ocala, baby, what makes you look so good? Ocala, baby.
All right, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock, it's time for Ocala Magazine Radio. John Sotomayor, who is normally the host of this show, actually is the host, and executive editor of Ocala Magazine, is not here today, and he has sent Kelli Hart in to do the job. Good morning, Kelli.
Good morning, Larry.
Good, how you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Look, I'm surrounded by a room full
I
of
noticed this.
handsome men. It's a great morning.
See, it's the problem. When you have a pretty woman hosting it, you got a lot of guys. See? So I don't know what's better.
That's not a problem for me.
I know it's not for you. But see, it's better when we have a guy, and then you invite lots of pretty women, see?
Oh,
I
see.
I like it better the other way.
I'll make sure John
Although, I mean, I
knows
love
that.
having you in here.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot. I'll let John know to try to stack the house differently next time. Well, I'm really excited to be here this morning. John called and said that he had something come up and he needed me to fill in, and of course I'm always happy to do that. The focus today, of course, is the article that he wrote for this month's magazine, which is the Honor and Country article, which is a wonderful article, and of course the purpose behind that is focusing on Armed Forces Day, which is happening on May 18th. And so with me today I have a room full of guests, and what I'd like to do is just go around and let them all introduce themselves and how they're affiliated, which branch, etc. So I'll start here to my left.
Sergeant Austin Ratchford, 20th Special Forces Group, National Guard.
Airman First Class Trammell, just got out of tech school, Shepherd Air Force Base.
There's another microphone there.
Airman First Class Woodyard, just got out of tech school as well from Shepherd Air Force Base.
I'm John Pachin. I'm here because my son, Tim Pachin, is a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force stationed in Miami.
My name is Staff Sergeant DeCoster with the Marines. I am your local recruiter. Originally, my job is a fire direction controlman for artillery.
Very good. Okay, I want to start with you over there, John Pachin. He's here because his son Tim was featured in the article, and your son, there's just a laundry list of things that he's accomplished, and I want you to just, because he can't be with us today, because he is so busy, just give us a little synopsis of the accomplishments that he has.
Okay, well, he went to the Air Force Academy, got out in 95, went to pilot training after that, happened to be the distinguished graduate in his pilot training class, which means number one. So he got to choose any plane he wanted. He chose the F-16, went to Luke Air Force Base in Phoenix for that training. Happened to be the number one graduate in that class, distinguished graduate. His first assignment was in Korea, Kunsan, Korea, for 1 year. Then he went to Misawa, Japan for 2 years. Then he took a job not flying for 2 years, which was Air Liaison Officer for the 1st Ranger Battalion, which is stationed in Savannah. So he was in charge of all the air support for the 1st Ranger Battalion. And he's served a total of 7 tours in the Middle East. Wow. While he was with the Rangers, he earned 2 Bronze Stars for various action in battles. And then he went to Aviano, Italy for 3 years, which was a great job, right where the Dolomite Mountains start, an hour north of Venice. And after that, he went to Miami. He's been in Miami for the last 6 years. He's a part-time reserve pilot instructor in F-16s, and he's got a full-time job with SOC South, which watches Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. He's the country officer for Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica.
So he's a little busy.
Yeah.
You can keep the microphone, because I also want to ask you about just being a parent of someone who's gone so often, and we were talking in the lobby about how there's such a little bit of information that you're even allowed to share when you're in communication, and just how that is for you and your wife with him being gone.
Yeah, well, I think by now we're used to it, but it's been a bit nerve-wracking at times. For example, when he had to deploy the first time from Savannah with the Rangers, we didn't even know he had gone, and but I guess prior to that, he had to make out a will and designate personal representative and so on. And then we've gotten a few calls over the years, one of which was when he had to eject from an F-16.
Oh.
But he was all right because he was flying fairly slowly at the time. He just got a couple black eyes.
Wow.
But we just figure that he has gotten a lot of good training, and so we just hope that things will go all right with him.
What are his plans? Do you know what his long-term goals are from here?
He wants to fly as long as he can, which is probably another few years, and I don't know beyond that. He's gotten, in the course of being a part-time instructor, a couple of MBA degrees, one from Columbia University and one from the London Business School, so not sure what he's going to do after he ends his job with SOC South.
Very impressive. I know you guys are proud.
We are. We're lucky parents.
Moving right along, to my left is Austin Ratchford, and if you've read the article, if not, definitely pick up a copy and read it. But I'll let him introduce himself, and what I want to know first of all is what made you, although it does touch on this in the article, but what made you interested in joining?
Right out of high school, I was looking for something to drive me, and college wasn't really that exciting to me at the time. So I've always wanted to be in the military, and it just made sense. As soon as I got out of high school, I signed up. I went down to the recruiter, and he talked me into it.
Did you have any reservations at all, or was it something you were just absolutely sure of?
It was something I've always been absolutely sure of.
And I read that there was something in here about watching Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I was about 4 or 5 years old. I remember my parents sitting on the couch, and I was standing in front of the TV watching Forrest Gump and listening to the Army, and I knew then and there, one day I was going to wear the same uniform.
So at 5, you're watching Forrest Gump.
Yes, ma'am.
Gosh, you're old. Just kidding. Do you remember how old you were when Forrest Gump came out, Larry? About 5, too?
Older than everybody in the room, I think, yeah.
Except for one.
Very good. And what's your experience been thus far?
It's been great. One thing I like to tell all my friends to ask me about it, the highs are higher than anything you're ever going to experience, but the lows are lower than anything you're going to feel here at home. So sometimes you just have to trade those lows for the highs.
And what about your parents? How influential were they when you were making the choice to join?
They were a little worried at first, but as time went on, I think they saw how good it was for me, how good I was doing, and they've just become even more and more supportive.
Well, it looks like it's really paid off. I was reading in here where you have saved up X amount of dollars and bought yourself a home by the age of 24, and
Yes, ma'am.
that's really impressive, especially right now. There are, people that aren't able to do half of those things. So it looks like you enlisting was something that was very beneficial, not just for now, but long term, as far as setting you up for life.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely say it was the deployment money, like they like to call it in the Army.
Very good. Now, if anybody's listening and they want to call, if they have any questions or comments, you can call 622-9622.
Kelly, you do have a call.
Oh, I do?
You have a call?
Okay.
I just didn't want to interrupt while you were speaking.
Oh, okay, great. Hello.
Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Larry. And I got in here a little late when the gentleman before was talking. I put 20 years in the military, and I've got, I thought, a pretty illustrious career, but mine pales so bad I don't even want to mention. Well, golly, that sounds like that fellow was able to leap tall buildings in a single bounce and fasten a locomotive and wear the big S on it. Who was he talking about? That one before?
That was his son that he was speaking of.
Well, what's his name?
His name is Tim Pachin.
Who?
Tim Pachin.
Did he go through school here in Ocala?
Yes.
Yes, he did. You can grab the microphone. You can ask his father any questions you like.
Yes,
well,
sir.
I'm asking.
All right, sir. He went through Trinity Elementary School and Forest High School, and then went to the Air Force Academy.
What year did he graduate? Because I was involved with 2 kids myself, and I thought they did pretty good. But this guy right here, I hope I knew him. I was involved pretty much over at Forest. So
he graduated from Forest in '91.
Oh my gosh, he's way behind my kids. I didn't know him, but I'll tell you one thing, that boy was good. I got one that went on to Harvard and is an architect in China and Europe, and he's going to Thailand. So there's a few people come through pretty good shape, and they had better chances. But I'll tell you what, it makes my heart feel good to hear somebody that goes on like that and is so successful. I'd like to meet that young man.
Well, thank you for your call. It sounds like Tim has a fan, so thank you. Have a great day.
You betcha.
Yeah, very good.
Very excited. Okay, very good. Okay, let's turn our attention now to the recruitment side of things. We have some recruiters and representing our recruiters in the building with us today. I would like to start with Staff Sergeant DeCoster. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he is our local Marine recruiter, and I just want to let him address the recruitment process, and for anybody that's interested and has any doubts at all, maybe he can answer some questions for you.
Basically, the process is it starts with me, meeting up at the office. You can contact me at 352-572-1680. We're located in the Best Buy Plaza, right next door to where CC's used to be. You can also go to marines.com, and then from there, basically, we talk about some of the things that we have to offer, education, some of the technical skills that we have to offer. You choose your job before you go to boot camp, things of that nature, and then we schedule you to go up to Jacksonville, swear in, and wait a few months to go to boot camp while we train you up.
Very good. Now, are there any programs currently within the high school level that people can participate in to prepare them for potential recruitment?
Yes, ma'am. Basically, once they're 17 years old and a senior in high school, they're eligible to do that. They're eligible to swear in, and then they get a ship date for whenever they graduate high school.
Very good. Now, in the article, in the Ocala Magazine article, it does talk about the top 10 reasons to join the military, and so I wanted to cover a few of those because I read them, and of course I've never had any military affiliation, but it all made perfect sense to me because there's such a diverse list of things listed here, and one of the ones that I wanted to talk about was the camaraderie. It says a sense of belonging and friendship second to none. Would you agree with that statement?
I absolutely agree. The brotherhood is like no other. You go through experiences with the Marines left and right of you that you won't go through with your own blood. So yeah, I definitely do agree with you.
And I also read in here where it said that less than 1% of the world population are Marines or have ever been a Marine.
That is correct.
Wow, that's such an elite group. So that's amazing. Another thing it lists in here is travel. So can you touch on the opportunity for travel?
Yes, ma'am. Basically, we have a deployment called a MU. It's a Marine Expeditionary Unit, and you can actually go on ship with the Navy around the world to different ports and experience different countries and things of that nature.
Very good. And of course, education is always a very important topic for people. Tell us a little bit about the potential for paid education.
Basically, you have tuition assistance. So when you're active duty, when you get off of work, you can go to college for free. It's paid for, and then you've got the post 9/11 GI Bill for whenever you do get out. So you could easily end up with 4 years of the greatest experience, get out and go to 4 years of college, and in a total of 8 years, you can have a master's degree.
Very good.
So sounds pretty good to
Tell
me.
us a little bit about yourself personally and why you decided to join the Marines.
I wanted to join the military ever since I guess I was probably 5 or 6 years old. I grew up in an army town. All I knew was Army, Army, Army. And then I met my Marine recruiter and saw him in his dress blues. Knew that the Marines were the best, just never knew a Marine. And, I mean, it took me about 3 seconds to decide Marines.
And what's your experience been like?
I've been over to Iraq and Afghanistan. I went to Iraq for all of 2006, 12-month deployment. I was on Camp Fallujah the whole time, shooting artillery. I went to Afghanistan in 2010, spent 7 months there, and then did the same thing pretty much. Then I came back and went on recruiting duty 3 months later.
And is that something that you wanted to do, or is it something you were assigned to do?
Absolutely. I volunteered to go on both deployments. I was pretty outgoing and proactive with going on those deployments.
That's great. And so now as a recruiter, of course, you're in a leadership position where you can share that experience, of course, and help people pave their own way through the Marines.
Yes, ma'am. Even if you only do 4 years and get out, it's a real solid foundation for what you're going to do with the rest of your life. I mean, you can't go wrong.
Very good. Okay, and we also have two other gentlemen here today, and that is Tyler Woodyard and Did I say that right? Woodyard? Woodyard?
Yes,
okay. And Spencer Trammell?
Trammell. Yes.
Sorry, guys. Anyways, they're here from the U.S. Air Force, and you'll pass the microphone to those guys. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourselves personally, your experiences, and why you're here with us today.
I did JROTC in high school, Bellevue High School. I knew since senior year that I didn't want to do anything else but go in the Air Force and enlist. My master sergeant there, instructor, he pushed me in that direction to go in, so I signed up, and I went basic training in November. I enjoyed it a lot. As I got in, I knew it was how I wanted to spend the rest of my life in the military, serving the country, exploring the world, the education, the benefits, everything that they provide is just amazing. Coming from home, like right out of high school, and enlisting, I mean, there's no gap really. It was great. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. My experiences were basic training in tech school, and both in Texas. Not really traveling out of Florida to go to Texas. Now that I've seen Texas, it's a great, crazy state. From the weather to the people to the rules to the weather again.
Is everything bigger in Texas?
Yes, yes, it is. I am a crew chief for the KC-135 Shadow Tanker, a big plane. I enjoy my job. Trained for it for a while. It's very, very much enjoyable.
So no regrets?
None, absolutely none. I wouldn't take it back for the world.
And when you look at your friends who graduated with you and are your same age, and you look at the parallel of what you're doing now and some of the things they're doing now, does it make you feel even more confident about the path you chose?
Oh, it does. I came back last Friday, and I look around, and I see the people doing the same exact thing. Maybe some people who took a step forward and got up out of the bed and did some online classes or this, but it's pretty much the same exact thing, with the exception of a few friends who've also joined the military or who've gotten their life together and went off to the big college, who know what they're doing. But in comparison, I'm glad I did what I did, and I'm very, very confident in my decision to join the military.
Very good. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, my story is a little bit different than Airman Trammell's. As soon as I graduated high school, I never thought that I would end up joining the military. I was working for Publix, and I was there for 5 years. And one day I kept getting promoted there, and I just decided one day that I didn't want to be stocking groceries for the rest of my life. I kind of wanted to get out there and experience the world. And that's when I joined the Air Force. I had a bunch of friends that had already been in, and they told me, they were like, oh, it's the best branch. You know, they invest the most money in your lifestyle. You know, you're going to have the best quality of life through them.
Is it the best branch? I'm looking at everyone else's faces.
Yes. I
Starting a war
agree
right here.
but
Just kidding. You don't have to answer.
yeah, I'll keep my opinions myself on that one. But it's amazing. I did the same technical training he did at the Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas. It was awesome. I'm a weapons troop on F-15s. I love my job. Like I couldn't think of doing anything else but this. And it's been an amazing experience. And I'm actually about to leave to go to Kadena, Japan.
Wow.
So I get to go to the #1 base I wanted. I was talking about that, harping about it the day I went in the recruiter's office. I was like, I want to go to Japan. Send me to Japan. And he's like, well, I can't guarantee you that, but, you know, when you get in here, I can guarantee you a mechanic's job. So I went in there and got it. Now I'm going where all my best friends are.
Very good.
They're over in Japan. So
there is a way then to have some direction if there's like a place that maybe you're, more drawn to. Yes,
the Air Force will work hard with you. I know a lot of friends that got the bases that they chose. Those are their #1 picks. And my #1 pick, I got it as well. You have a dream sheet you fill out while you're in basic training, and you put it down. And a lot of people say, oh, they don't pay attention to it, but the Air Force, I've noticed through my technical training, a lot of people got the bases that they wanted.
That's great.
So
it makes it even better. Now, you guys talked about the basic training. Tell me a little bit about the basic training. I mean, the real raw truth about basic training for someone that's never been there. What's the most difficult part of basic training for you?
It's mentally exhausting.
Okay.
I know our basic training is a lot different than other branches. Just like mentally, they just break you down and then build you back up. I mean, it's attention to detail and everything because we work on, multi-million-dollar aircrafts, and you can't not have attention to detail on things that you work on like that because that could kill one of our pilots in the air.
Absolutely.
Or maybe someone that we're intending to take out. That doesn't happen. So, I mean, they hammer that into our heads. I know Airman Tramel's had that hammered into his head too. So
yeah, it's what he said. Attention to detail. They set you up for success from day one until the very end. You start to notice things that they teach and they say and they instill in you that will carry on with you through your 8.5 weeks, and then further on in your career, from tech school to your first base. The little things, looking at it, examining it, inspecting it. Like my job, I inspect the plane. I have to get every little look at every little thing on there, and it's just like the uniform. First day in basic, look at your uniform. Make sure there's no strings. It goes from strings to screws and bolts on a plane. It goes from little pockets being unbuttoned to something that has to do with weapons. They set you up for success from day one, from the start, and you may not get it then, but during your time in basic and through school, you realize that they do actually really care.
Austin, what was your experience? Because I know I read in your portion of the article that football was a big influence. And of course, football, there's a lot of exhaustion and a lot of preparation. And so how did that compare for you through your basic training?
Through basic training?
Yeah.
Well, it was physically exhausting and mentally exhausting. I was called names I didn't even know existed in basic training.
Oh. Okay. That's like working at a prison or something.
I wouldn't compare it to that. I mean, we got paid for it. That's about the only difference.
There you go. And as far as being away from your family for the first time, I'm sure that's something, like you were saying about Tim being away, you eventually kind of get used to it. It's just part of the daily lifestyle. But initially, I would think that there would be some resistance as far as being so far away from your families for the first time. So how are you able to handle that?
A lot of letter writing.
Yeah.
A lot of staying up at night with my flashlight under the sheets, writing letters.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay. And Staff Sergeant DeCoster, when you have people ask you about the experience of being away from their families for the first time, what advice do you give to them?
They're always going to have communication with their family. And in our boot camp, it's 13 weeks. It's definitely the most intense, challenging boot camp there is. You could watch videos on YouTube if you'd like. You get to write back home. They write you every day. You only get 2 phone calls, one at the beginning and then one at the end of boot camp. If you deploy, you're going to get phone calls pretty regularly. I called my dad at least once a week while I was gone in Iraq and Afghanistan. So there's always communication, I guess, to steer away from you being homesick.
Now, you say that your training is more intense. What would make it more intense?
Well, first off, it's 13 weeks. It's the longest. Second, you're constantly running everywhere that you're going. Running, marching, 16 hours a day. You get 8 hours of sleep, unless you have fire watch, because somebody's got to be up at all times. But we have the Marine Corps martial arts program, so there's different martial arts training. You shoot on the rifle range up to 500 meters. I think that's the longest out of any branch.
Very good.
Sure. Things of that nature.
Okay. Now, we don't have any women here in this circle other than myself, and I'm not one for experience in the military, but...
Behind you.
Oh, do you want to grab the microphone? Okay. We had a volunteer. Not just any volunteer. Someone with experience. This is great, because I want a little bit of a perspective from a woman's point of view. If you want to say your name and just give a little bit of a background on yourself quickly and let us know how the military may be different or not different at all for a woman.
Well, my name is Sergeant Jennifer Farr. I do marketing and public affairs for Marine Corps Recruiting Station in Jacksonville, basically journalism and things of that nature. As far as being a female in the military, I can't speak on all other branches. Being a female Marine carries the same amount of pride as being a Marine, period. We're not shy about saying we're the best.
Uh-oh.
But actually, only 6% of the Marine Corps is female. So the other 94% are Staff Sergeant DeCoster.
Gotcha.
So, like, our experience from the time that we're in boot camp to the time that I'm a mother, those are things that come into play when you are a female.
Sure.
Our training's the same through boot camp. There's not any difference.
No slack?
No.
They don't. No. Okay.
No. Because it's not about. The only difference is on the PFT right now. We do a flexed arm hang. The Marine Corps is in the process of incorporating pull-ups, which 8 is going to be the max amount. But other than that, training is the same, and execution of our duties is the same as well. So it's a level playing field. Like I said, I can't really speak about other branches, but being a female in the military is a rewarding opportunity. It gives you the chance to kind of break away from the sometimes break away from those gender-specific roles that you find in the civilian life, because there's expectations. There's things that we do that, the hard thing whenever you're looking at joining the military and you're a female is, like, is there going to be a huge difference? Am I going to still be a girl? There's absolutely no problem in maintaining your femininity while being strong.
Very good.
So, yeah.
That's great. Well, I want to thank all of you guys for being here today. I do want to give you another opportunity to give your location of the recruitment center for those interested in the Marine branch, and I'll let you guys give some information about your center as well.
Again, I'm Staff Sergeant DeCoster with the Marines. We're in the Best Buy Plaza on the 200 right next door to where CC's Pizza used to be, and my phone number is 352-572-1680. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
And we are located right next door.
Oh, that's nice competition to be next door. Okay, very good. Well, thank you guys for being here, and have a very happy Armed Forces Day and a Mother's Day to you.
Yay.
All right, thank you.
Baby, I believe that you're the most Ocala, baby.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Sunshine mixing with clouds today. Watch out for a late day or evening thunderstorm. High 85 to 89, then partly cloudy overnight. Low 65 to 69. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds. An afternoon or evening thunderstorm in the area. High 86 to 90. For Sunday, intervals of clouds and sunshine. Very warm and humid with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. The high 85 to 89. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
You've got a garden, and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
It's been 500 years.